Hello and welcome to the Sandbox Daily with me, John Jordan. So an interesting collaboration going on today, and this is between two kind of content makers in the Sandbox. So one is SandRush and one is Light Trail Adventures, and they have collaborated to create this really cool thing they're calling the Shrine of Truth. So it's a sort of a big kind of building, a kind of a mythical sort of building in the Sandbox, and then the Sandbox, the company behind it, have also given them given those guys a 3x3 land NFT that the Shrine of Truth will sit on. So it's kind of worth going through this, because I think the Sandbox, we're going to be seeing a lot more, or hearing a lot more about kind of collaborations with big brands in the Sandbox, but also once people have anyone can make things in the Sandbox. So that means kind of people who are game developers can just make their own thing. If they own their own land, they can make their own stuff in the Sandbox. And I think we'll see some interesting sort of kind of original IP potentially kind of coming out of this. So what's going on here? So it's kind of interesting kind of situation here where the SandRush and Light Trails Adventures are kind of saying they found that they were neighbours in the Sandbox. They're calling it the metaverse, but basically you can look to see on the Sandbox map, and you can see who owns which land, and obviously people can put actually kind of URLs in as well, so you can kind of see who owns land around you if they put that in. So these guys obviously did that, and they decided they had a lot in common. They're obviously kind of making their own sort of stuff in there. So they decided to do a collaboration, and this is sort of one of the cool things you can do, particularly with blockchain, because it's all this stuff's running on open blockchains. So it's an open development kind of platform for people. So interestingly, they're both sort of game developers who can make kind of high-end artwork, and they're interesting on cross-gaming concepts by blockchain. So they started looking at what they could do. So I think the SandRush and Light Trail Adventures are working on their own things. So they're working on their own kind of experiences in the Sandbox, and you find this with a lot of there are sort of indie crews who are building stuff in the Sandbox. Because it's not live yet, we don't really have a good idea of what's going on there. But there has been some some developers sort of highlighted, and they're building sort of mini games and stuff like that in there. So we know this sort of stuff's going on. So they're saying from SandRush they built this Aztec-style jungle kind of theme, and then from Light Trail Adventures they took some sort of futuristic sort of kind of neon elements here, and they sort of mashed it all up, and they built this sort of massive, what they're calling the gold monolith. There's only one of these. This is what it looks like. This is the concept art, and then this is the top-down view. So it's fairly big. So it will take up a quarter of a 1x1 land. It's a fairly sizable thing. But now, because the Sandbox has given them a 3x3 land, this will sort of I imagine you place that in the middle, and it would be sort of the highlight, and you can build other stuff around it. So 8 artists actually have worked over 2 months to build this. So it's a fairly kind of substantial bit of work. We can see 40 by 40, and they've done a lot of work on sort of texturing and stuff. So this is kind of interesting that this is so big that it has to be bundled into 6 NFTs because the polygon count's too big. And then that's being auctioned off on OpenSea. We'll have a look at that. And then they've also added a 3x3 land. So a 3x3 land is pretty valuable. A normal land is currently selling for over $1,000. So a 3x3 land is actually sort of not kind of 9 times bigger, obviously. So that's fairly sizable. And then there's this really cool NFT in there as well. And they've got some gameplay in there, so you can. There's a small parkour sort of course, and at the top there's a chest that you can open, and this sort of stuff in there. It's interesting that they're saying the mechanic is ready for events to be facilitated by the landowner. So another big part of the Sandbox is when people own these, when they own these kind of plots of land and they build little mini games in there. If they want to, they can sort of start charging for them. So you have this idea of an open sort of a game, a bit like Roblox to some degree, but this is all on contiguous land. So there's a big land plot, and you can walk basically between environments. I don't know how many people will start charging. Probably not many in the beginning, but obviously if there's very special sort of places, you can imagine sort of theme parks. You imagine big brands coming in now. Obviously, kind of Atari already have their big big area, or several areas actually. But you can imagine people kind of earning kind of revenue from this, and then this blog post then goes into some of the detail here. So let's go and have a quick look at OpenSea and see what's going on with the auction. So here we go. This is, we can see here, this is the Shrine of Truth auction. So it's the NFT bundle, and then this 3x3 estate. So we can actually see sort of where it is. It doesn't show up that well, but basically it's this area of land here. So all these are land plots. So this is looks like it's sort of in the centre. This is a very big central kind of area owned by the Sandbox. That's the S is for the Sandbox. So this shrine is sort of well placed up here next to a bit of Sandbox, and next to a bigger area that looks like a 6x6 up there. And we can see here at the moment not a lot of bidding going on. So it's just got 6 days to go. It's only just started. Someone's put in one ETH, $2,300. It's going to go for a lot more than that, I can say. I can tell you. Well, actually, is it even started today? Maybe it's starting tomorrow. So I don't know how someone's bidding on that. Anyway, it's going on auction, and yeah, because this is a slightly kind of weird sort of thing. It's an estate. You have to contact the Sandbox to get the NFT token, because it's in a bundle, and they have to, I guess manually they'll have to transfer that over to you, because it's sort of a slightly kind of weird kind of NFT, not a sort of normal NFT. But anyway, I think it just goes to show it is interesting how these sort of collaborations can happen, and I'm sure we're seeing lots of them. And that will allow sort of different, just to allow kind of different fun environments, different people to get involved. It's not all about the main developer creating the content. This is all about, a community making content. So it's good to see that. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. This is the Sandbox Daily. If you're interested in the Sandbox, there's going to be plenty of news coming out as they move into their alpha in the summer. Please subscribe to the channel, and see you again soon.